Welcome, one and all. My name is Anna Lempriere, and I am a wayfinder. I work for the Cornwall Memory Cafe Network, supporting carers and people living with dementia to access services, make referrals, and really help them find a way to get more support. This is part of Disability Cornwall, and we've decided to create this podcast interviewing experts and people with lived experience on dementia to be able to share all sorts of interesting and informative and supportive information. So sit back and enjoy, and also share the podcast with your friends. It's relaxed and inclusive and welcoming, and thank you for listening. Welcome everybody to our Dementia Toolkit video series, a one-stop shop answering all your questions on everything dementia related. Simple educational advice from people with lived experience and professionals in their field. We aim to provide support that's personalised to help you on your dementia journey. Welcome everybody. Happy New Year 2025. This is our first podcast for the Cornwall Memory Cafe Network, and my name's Anna Lempriere and I am the podcast host, and we host this on behalf of Disability Cornwall and the Cornwall Memory Cafe Network, and of course Dementia Together. So we want to have conversations with people with lived experience and professionals so that we can all feel a little bit more connected and in the know. And today I have the honour of being with some incredible human beings, Zoe and Jeremy, Tim and Jane, and Stuart and Sharon, who have been part of the Young Onset group that was a pioneering group that we started last year, and we've gathered today on the 2nd of January, right at the beginning of the year, to talk about the group, to see how it's benefited, and so that people that are listening out there might come along to the group or send people along to the group. It's been one of the highlights of my year, being able to be in this really lovely group. So I'm going to stop speaking and I'm going to hand it over to Jeremy and Zoe to talk about how the group has felt to you. So maybe just before I do that, to say that what I started to learn at the beginning of the year was the language that a lot of professionals even don't necessarily know, the difference between young onset and early onset. So for those that are listening, if you don't know, young onset is when people under the age of 65 have a dementia diagnosis. Early onset, which is something completely different, is the beginning, the early stages of a dementia journey. So our Young Onset was created in a recognition that the memory cafes out there are absolutely incredible, and yet some of them literally are a totally different generation, an older generation. And so we sort of acknowledge that people living with young onset are a lot fitter and out there in the world wanting to live an active, vital life. And so we created this program, really an experimental journey, to see if we could offer something different and have the people from the young onset actually contribute what they would like to be doing and make friends, so that they felt like connected and not like the only people experiencing this. So come on Jeremy, come on Zoe, tell us, how has this journey been for you this year, finding the group? What's been your experience?
It's been really good. It's been nice being with people that sort of get it a bit more, because I don't think people do get it very much. When I first got diagnosed, the practitioner that sort of came on a call with us was scared. It was really weird. Like, it had no idea about what it meant. He just said, "You're so young," and then the call finished, isn't it?
Wow.
So that was pretty yeah, like that's when I thought this can't be right. That
Yeah.
even, you know, a practitioner who should know what they're doing didn't have a clue at all. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was the start for us, or for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when we first realised our situation, we were suddenly so isolated and so um, um,
We
we had
weren't
nowhere
clued
to
up at all, were
no,
we? We
and we
didn't.
we
Yeah.
had nowhere to turn, and so this group, the blessing of this group is that we're with people who are, although at different stages on the journey, on the same journey, and we can talk about it, and we can share in understanding. I've learned so much from the other people on the in the group, and it's helped us both on a practical level, but and an emotional level. Yeah, it's been an
Wow.
absolutely vital resource.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. So, well, maybe what we'll do is we'll go round and then we can come back and circle back, because it would be really good to get a more of a picture on how the practical help has happened and the emotional support. But maybe we'll just go round once and then come back again. So thank you both. Tim and Jane, can you share something?
Yeah, hi. So I'm Tim, and I help look after and care and support for my wife Jane, who has the diagnosis of young onset Alzheimer's disease, which, as you know, is a form of dementia. So, yeah, one of the most important words I think is connected. So we definitely have that feeling of connection, and yeah, it can be a lonely place out there, and so to find other people that are in Cornwall, that are living locally and that are experiencing the same things as us it's very supportive, and in a way it's comforting as well, because otherwise I think you just feel like you're the only person having to deal with this, the only person going through it, and it is a huge effect on our lives. You know, Jane was at work. She had a career. She was working when she had her diagnosis. So, I mean, what a change! What a change to our lifestyle, to everything, to our day-to-day goings on and everything. Changes with friends as well, and you know, the activities that you can take part in. But what the Young Onset Group has created is a really caring environment and a safe environment where you can just be yourself, and you can mix with others that just get it. They absolutely do get it, and it is the difference. You know, I've heard that expression so many times. But you're so young. You're so young.
Yeah.
And you know, Jane's 57 when she was diagnosed, 58 now, and it's a time when, you know, you can be looking forward to retirement and things like that, and all the things that you want to do. And all of a sudden this comes along, and it's a big change. But the Young Onset Group has always made us feel very welcome, and it's all about, I guess, living well with the dementia, with the diagnosis you've got, and you've created opportunities for us to come together and do different activities, which have all been fun and just a great way of getting together, doing something different, and having a catch up and a coffee, because your coffee's important to you, isn't it, Jane?
Yeah. And me, and the cake. Yes, I mean, I know you've said that before as well when we've spoken. We meet at the moment at the Exchange in Penzance, and it's a really lovely environment, very spacious, and we just sit before we actually go in and do the session. We sit together and just have a chat and a catch up. And you've all said that is just as valuable as the actual sessions. Is just, and I know, Jeremy, you were sort of saying about the practicality of just sharing information as and when it's coming through on your dementia journey, and support that's out there, things that are happening, benefits, all sorts of things that we've chatted through in that small group. Thank you, Tim. All right, so let's come round to Stuart and Sharon. Anything you'd like to share about your experience of the Young Onset Group?
Yeah, I think like Jeremy and Tim have said, it's the sharing of information which has been paramount for us. I mean, in one way, I'm luckier than most because I work in the mental health. I do actually get a lot of support from my colleagues. They understand. Whereas if you're not working within the system, you are a little bit like an outsider looking in at times, I believe. So I've had a lot of help from both sides, but chatting with the 5-6 of us all together has been an absolute godsend to me, because it's hard to find time for yourself. And even on the courses I've done with ProMass, and I don't know if Jeremy and Tim find this, they keep saying, what are you doing? Not as a couple, but what are you doing as an individual, as a carer? And listening to everything that goes on. And predominantly it's always a we are, not I am. And I think that's one of the biggest things. And I think that's something we all have to find a way to alter slightly, but it's good to get together and bounce ideas off each other. We've learned so much from each other because we've all had slightly different experiences. And I think that's what's helped us a lot, hasn't it? Yeah.
Thank you, Stuart. And you've sort of said to me, I think all of you said to me that you make a day of it. Can you say a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, for us, I mean, even the early onset or young onset group, but also we go to the Memory Cafe at St Agnes every first and third Wednesday of the month. And I always make sure we leave early, we go and find somewhere for lunch. Yeah. And it's a different place nearly every time. But it's a day out for Sharon. We get to the Memory Cafe, they're great, they look after us. I sometimes have problems with my sleep. So when I get there, there's been times when I've been sat at the back of the room sort of, and I can feel my head going. And the volunteers are all going, oh, don't worry, we'll look after Sharon. And and that's reassuring. I mean, as we all found out when we did the gong bath, I went straight to sleep. So the things that we do all help in their own little way.
Yeah. Thank you very much. All right, well, let's come round again, Zoe. So if we're thinking about some of the sessions, Stuart's mentioned the gong bath. We had a lovely lady called Nicole come and do aromatherapy and massage with us. We had a sleep expert come and talk to us. What else have we done? We've done breathing and meditation. We did some beautiful eco art drawing. Can you share how you felt about some of those sessions together, how it's impacted you, Zoe?
I really enjoyed it. I've always thought that I couldn't oh, excuse me, I've got a sore throat at the moment.
Bless you.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed the gong bath. I have to say that was my absolute favorite, especially when it got really loud. I really enjoyed it. I don't know why, but that was my absolute favorite.
Amazing. And I suppose as well, it's been that we've been experimenting with different things, haven't we? It's like what's been working, and it has sort of felt like some of the more experiential sessions have been the most valuable.
Yeah, I definitely think that.
All right, let's come back to Tim then. Tim and Jane, what else? Anything else you could share?
Yeah, I enjoyed the sleep workshop actually, and I think some of the tips and information that we were given are just so useful. And even if you don't have a particular issue sleeping at the moment, it's something that you can reach back into as well. So I think all of these things, sometimes they come around in a bit of a circle, and you'll think, well, somebody else mentioned that, and then, oh yes, it was at the sleep workshop, and it was Kelly, and she spoke about this, and that that tip was really, really helpful. So yeah, I enjoyed the art as well, I must admit. Art's not really my thing, but they just create such a lovely environment, and it was like whatever you made was good. And inspired by all the pictures that were on the wall and things like that of the lovely Cornish coastal scenes that we have. And you know, being able to appreciate that is just so, we're so lucky to live in Cornwall in that respect. We've got so much of the lovely great outdoors. So things that connect us with nature, I think, are really important.
Oh, thank you, Tim. Okay, so well, let's go around one more time. I've just muted. I thought it was you that had the I muted the dog, and I don't know whether it's coming from Stuart's house or Jeremy's, but you're muted at the moment. So look.
Both I believe. Both. Was responding.
They're talking as well. So you might need to unmute yourself, Jeremy. But just to say then, if we had one more thing about thinking about this year and the young onset and what you would like to get out of it, what it means to you, just any last piece of information sharing that you would all give, focusing on the young onset this year. We've already got a few things in store. You know, we're talking about even Zoe running a session, and that we might come to your place of work now, Jeremy, where we might have a cooking day or a cooking afternoon. So just sharing any ideas or thoughts about certain pivotal moments, perhaps, or just a general feeling of last year or this coming year, what it would mean to you for the young onset to continue. The group.
I think that when we talked about that coffee, that bit of where we have a coffee and we talk, I think we're seeing that as an increasingly valuable point, and I'm quite mindful of the idea that in the future we'll have new members, and we'll have people who will want to join, or we will have new challenges, and so I'd almost be I'd be very interested in sort of in investigating how we can share information effectively and usefully, and gather that information in a way that we can then pass on and share more, you know, so it's less ad hoc and more valuable. And sometimes I'd quite like to see, like, the activities that we do, like you said, the activities that when we go out and do new things together. I love they're good fun, and they're great, and they take us to new directions, and I think some of them are ones that we almost want to sort of like reapproach, like the sort of like the mindfulness things, the things about sleeping, so we can almost like come back and discuss them again or talk about them and find the values in them.
I love that.
Yeah,
almost like you'd have perhaps a regular practice of certain aspects each time that you could almost like self-care practice at the beginning or at the end that is repeated every time. And that there's some kind of structure, a little bit like, well, the first part is the tea, the coffee, the cake, and just catching up, and then having some kind of therapeutic or event that we participate in. And then at the end, we have our regular self-care practice, which might be a little bit of mindfulness or breathing or something like that.
Yeah.
Is there anything about the young onset of last year or this coming year, what it would mean to you to continue to potentially grow the group, to be going out and doing different things? You know, how valuable would this be going forward?
That would be immensely valuable. I mean, obviously, as you appreciate, I have an issue sort of fitting it in with my shifts, but the days that I have been there, it has been a tremendous help, certainly to me, and I think Sharon's enjoyed it as well, because, like you say, the normal memory cafes, the age group tend to be sort of 10 to 20 years older. And it does make a difference. It, like Jeremy said, it would be lovely to have that debrief after things like the gong bath, the sleep program, things like that, and then come back at it a little bit later on in the year and say, right, how did you find that?
It's a great
have
idea.
you changed anything in how we're doing things?
That's a great idea.
Because it does help. I mean, the other thing, and I'm going to get onto sort of the NHS side of it now. I don't know if you've all got primary care nurses in place, but
No.
I find they only come round every 6 months or so. And I think they almost could be a bit more involved if that's possible. I don't know whether it would do any good.
So one idea we have had is that if there's time, that we could invite experts in certain fields to come as well. And even if they sort of came for 20 minutes at the end or something like that, where you can have a brainstorm sort of firing questions. So we could do that, invite some experts. We could invite a PCDP and that kind of thing.
Yeah, some things like that would be really good.
I think it would be handy. I mean, I appreciate they are busy people and they do have a very big workload, but I think it would be handy if they could come in sort of once every 6 months.
Could we put a challenge out to the NHS then for there to be a designated lead for young onset dementia within Cornwall and the Arts Facility?
Oh, good call.
That would be good, wouldn't it? That would be great.
That's a great idea.
I mean,
I'm just thinking of all the conversations I've had, and there's nobody springing to mind, not for young onset, but if we could have one professional identified, it would give us a real focus, wouldn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Really, the group has been this the three couples here and myself, and then experts in their area have come in and shared. And so we're welcoming that professionals out there that are, are interacting with people that have young onset, and also anyone that's listening with young onset. We are a really friendly bunch, and we're inviting you to come. It's completely free. It's all funded, so it's completely free. And you'd be so welcome.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, go on, Jeremy.
So I think three things. The first thing, I think we would be absolutely heartbroken if this didn't continue next year. Yeah. It's a phenomenal resource, and the resources come from the fact that, as going back to something earlier, I think the experts in this whole field are here now. We are the experts, and we've been able to share information and gain from each other so much. And then the activities that you've brought in for us, Anna, have also created a really, really valuable group. And I think anyone who comes and joins us, and I'm sure there are people out there who
probably just don't know that things exist.
No, they just don't know. And I think one of our responsibilities over the next year may be that we actually keep pushing to find those people and welcoming them in. And it can only benefit us and them. Because I think, once again, I think we are the experts. And I think that's why it's going to be hard to find an expert to come visit us, because we're already there.
Yes.
Yes, you're right.
Thank you. And you said three things. So were they the three things? Was there another one?
Three things. New
amazing.
People, we have to find them. It's a fantastic resource, and we are the.
You are the experts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you are the experts. That's amazing. Wow. Thank you so much to the people that are listening. And you can reach us. You can reach me. All the details will be in the show notes on how you can contact us to join the Young Onset. And our first official session will be in February. And thank you so much for listening.
This video was produced by Discover Voices. part of Disability Cornwall and Isles of Scilly. To check out all of our content, simply search Discover Voices on YouTube.